Today's sultry, smooth voiceover is brought to you by our sponsor, XVive. In my hand, I have the XVive XV1-R. It's a field recorder type thing, and this is something that I've been looking for quite some time for a couple of different applications, but I'm always looking to try to improve the audio on this channel, and I think this is going to be a really good proponent of accomplishing that goal. So let's take a closer look. Obviously, you're already hearing the XVive XV1-R. So as I said, XVive is sponsoring this video. They did send out the XV1-R for us to check out together, so there are links in the description as always. And I gotta tell you folks, if you're looking to up your audio game, get one of these. I'm gonna say that straight off the bat. This is not coming from, oh, they sent it to me and told me to say that. Because as I always say, sponsored or not, opinions are mine. 100% honest, no matter what. This is impressive. It really is. I've been wanting to try one of these, like, I've heard them called field recorders before. They're like stereo things because they have the two mics going left and right and capture it in a stereo kind of sound. And I've always wanted to try one of these for this application, right? And I am very impressed with this thing, with all of the tests that I've thrown at it thus far. Because we're going to do something a little bit different here in just a minute. Because you can mount this thing to either the top of your camera or to a tripod, which my camera doesn't have a mount at the top. But I can mount it to one of the various tripods that I have lying around. So we're going to do that here in just a second and see kind of what it sounds like when it's a little further away, like if it were to be on top of the camera. I'm going to put it up to an amp, and we'll see how that works and everything. But before we do that, I just want to talk about it a little bit. So it is very compact, very portable, and you're hearing all of the audio in this video coming from this thing. One thing about it that I didn't know, and just to make you aware of, is that it runs with batteries. So 2 AA batteries are included. And then to save the files themselves, you need a micro SD card. So think like what goes into a phone. It's a micro SD card. So if you have a bunch of SD cards lying around thinking that it's going to work with this, get you a micro one, save yourself a little bit of trouble. Because to my understanding, it didn't come with one. But I didn't see one in the box. I digress. Spec-wise, it's really easy to use. Little screen right here, but it's very easy to read. It's probably dimmed right now because it's just being used, but it is very easy to use. It's got a little power switch over here that you hold down to turn it on and off so you won't accidentally knock it off or like press the button or whatever. It's got a delete button right here, so if you record something and need to start over, you delete it right on the fly. You have a volume button over here to turn the volume of it up and down when you're playing it back through the onboard speaker, which I think is kind of cool. You have a line in over here to plug in an external mic, so if you want to use like a lav mic, something like that, you can do that and record into this thing with a separate mic. And then you have the headphone out right over here, which you saw me with the headphones on earlier. It was plugged straight into this thing, and I was listening to myself talk as I recorded the intro there. You can stop recording here. You can mark your recordings for, I think, overlaps and overlays and all that kind of stuff, because you can do multi-recording on this thing, which I think is kind of cool. There's a menu there. It's got compressors, gates, like EQs in it to do all that, so you can really morph it to fit whatever it is you're recording. And it's got a bunch of different recording modes on it too, which I'll cover here in just a second. So this thing's really cool. Nice build quality. Seems like it would last a little bit if you took it out, used it, all that kind of stuff. It's not going to break easy or anything like that. So I'm impressed with that. Kind of going through, I have my iPad here with some specs on it. Let's see, it says about the profiles. That's what I was looking for. So it says XV1-R offers a selection of perfectly tweaked presets for common recording scenarios. So you have production, which I think is like their highest level of the preset. Yeah, so pristine music and media capture. I'm on the general setting, which is the one underneath that. So this is kind of like their mid-ground preset. It sounds really good. I've done a couple of tests with just the general on. Sounds really good no matter what test I've thrown at it. You have meeting, which is more for like a smaller room. If you're in a meeting at work and you need to record that, which you should record your meetings at work, don't get caught without that paper trail. Voice memo for minimum file size speech, which I really probably should be using for things like this. And then concert, transparent encoding of music and media with auto level enabled. So if you were at a loud concert or something, which we'll probably switch to concert when we not plug it in, but when we put it up with an amp, we'll probably do that to see if that helps kind of control that a little bit. But there is a compressor built in, so you can do all that stuff. And then it says the front obviously has all the buttons on it, which we talked about. It's got a play, up and down, plus, minus, whatever.
And it's just really, really intuitive, really cool, really simple to use, very user-friendly, and I'm impressed with it. Again, feature-wise, sound-wise, I like it. I like the fact that you can throw this in your camera bag, you can mount it to the top of your camera or set it across the room and capture the room audio. So there's that. So you've heard me talking kind of on and on and on about it, just to give you a full, crystal clear understanding of what this thing can do on general mode. And let's go ahead and kind of put it in different scenarios, right? So I'm going to put it on a tripod right by the camera, so it's going to be off frame, but the audio that you're going to be hearing is from the XVive. All right, so now I'm back. I got my headphones on. I have the XVive right next to the camera, and I have it pointed kind of at my mouth. So if you're looking at it, it's almost like at an angle going like that at my mouth. And I have my headphones back on because I'm listening. It's plugged into it, and I'm just trying to hear kind of what it sounds like, listen to some of the room, and see what it all sounds like. And thus far, I like what I'm hearing in the headphones. How it's going to come through in editing, I don't know yet because I've not gotten that far yet. But if I wanted to use it with the camera to capture, you know, if I was out filming a vlog or something, I think that it would do just fine. Or if you set it up for like an interview, if you were doing an interview and you had one going this way and one going this way and it was kind of further back by the camera or something, I think you would get some pretty good audio. Now again, this is still in the general setting, so I think if you were to use something like the meeting setting or maybe even voice memo, you could probably get some sort of better results, but maybe I'll play around with it and do some tests right here just to see. In fact, let's do that. Let's switch to some of the modes. You've heard general mode. Let's go to meeting mode. All right, so this is meeting mode. Again, I've not moved the XVive. It's still in the exact same spot, but this is what it sounds like if we are in meeting mode. How it sounds in editing, again, I don't know. In the headphones, sounds like it's maybe a little less, maybe a little more low end to it, if that makes sense. It sounds a little bit better, more suited for maybe something like this. Let's try the next mode. This is voice memo mode. So in the headphones, and this could just be me in a mental trick here, it does sound like it's maybe a bit of a lower quality piece of audio. I don't know. I won't know until I get to editing and listen to it through my good speakers. But this is the voice memo mode, which if you're recording just something quick, a little note to yourself, you know, you see the people in Hollywood on TV all the time. Idea for a movie. That's what this mode would be for. You get the best kind of sound out of it, and it's probably more suited for if you're up close. Kind of like this. Yeah, in the headphones, that sounds much better. Just for laughs, here's concert mode, which I can tell in the headphones, it captures much, much more of the room. I can hear pretty much every aspect, every echo of the room. My laundry room is actually right back there, and the washer is draining. You could probably hear it because it's like it's so sensitive. But I could see where concerts, this would be really good for that. We have one more mode to go through. It's the professional mode, I think is what it was called. And that's going to be like maybe the highest bit of quality in the audio. So let's see what the last mode sounds like. This is going to be probably higher file size, better overall kind of quality. Thus far in the headphones, it's very similar to the concert mode. You can kind of hear all the echoes of the room. You can probably hear some of the noise behind it, but that's one of the beautiful things about these types of recorders is it's usually kind of like a shotgun mic where it's kind of head on and it captures the stereo kind of what's in front, but you do still kind of get those like passing sounds kind of up in the back and maybe from the sides. Overall, thus far, like I said, I'm impressed with all of these modes for voiceovers, for recording things like this. But what if we start throwing music at it? Say if we were going to record the room sounds for a big amplifier or like a big combo amp. I've got my new X Mighty 60 Mark II back there that we're going to put to the test with the XVive and see what it sounds like, because I really like that amp and it's nice and easy just to plug into it and get some good sounds out of it. So let's go ahead and put the XVive on the tripod kind of right by the amp, which is over here under my desk, and see what kind of sounds we can get out of that. All right, back for some final thoughts really quickly. We're back in general mode, and we are back to being handheld. So before I get into kind of my final thoughts on it, just be aware that I didn't like traditionally mic up the amp down there because this thing's not intended to be right on a speaker, right? Now with your voice, right, like how I'm doing it now, you notice I'm holding it kind of close, but not so close. Same thing goes with the speaker. I mean, the amp is much louder than I am. So I placed it a little further back. I was listening through my headphones the entire time as we were running through the modes. All of them sounded pretty good. I think production and concert are definitely going to be the way to go if you're trying to get some kind of amp sound, maybe general, just depending. But definitely monitoring your headphones and find a good sweet spot if you're going to be doing it with an amp, especially if you're going to be a little bit closer. Because the closer you get to it, it's going to be a little bit bassier, I think. With this, and then the further back you go, obviously it's going to let more of the speaker sound come to it, and you're kind of going to get all of the frequencies. So just play around with it. That's what I did before I even pressed record on it, and I think I got a pretty decent sound out of it. You can probably hear me. I was sitting kind of right behind it the entire time just playing, so you can probably hear my pick sounds and everything, just so you know I'm not a guitar faker, which seems to be the trend right now on YouTube, but I digress. So the XVive XV1-R, I think, gets the pass. I think it's exactly what I was looking for, the fact you can plug in headphones and an external mic to it if you really need to, and it's great for interviews. So if I was going to talk to you, the lovely people, which you can do that in the comments, I think that this thing would do great. So thank you again very much, XVive, for sending this out. I greatly appreciate it. I will definitely be using this more on my videos and my recordings. And thank you guys, more importantly, for watching, subscribing, clicking the link in the description, and going and picking one of these up for yourself, because XVive is a great company. They make great stuff. And I say that because I've used XVive products, not sponsored, outside of YouTube, and I really do dig them. So thank you very much, XVive. Again, thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video.